it's Miss Polk, and I am here today to review plate tectonics with you. These notes are going to go on page 14 of your notebook. Earth is made up of layers, 4 to be exact. We have the crust, the mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. Go ahead and pause if you need to, and move on when you're ready. The crust, an upper portion of the mantle, where it is most solid, is what makes up the lithosphere. The lithosphere is more important because it deals with plate tectonics. Go ahead and pause if you need to and move on when you're ready. Plate tectonics is a theory that explains Earth's crust and many associated phenomena, such as earthquakes. The crust of Earth moves slowly over the mantle due to convection currents. The plates move about as fast as your fingernails grow, so we can't physically see it, but when they overcome stress and cause earthquakes, that is when we can feel it. And so that's how we explain plate tectonics, about how the crust of the Earth is moving. Go ahead and pause if you need to, or move on when you're ready. Convection currents are the currents created from hot substances rising, cooling, and then falling back down. The core is hot and provides the heat, and the mantle, the convection currents occur, causing the movements of the plates. So as the convection currents heat up, they rise, they cool off, and they fall, and as they go through that process, they make the plates move. When the plates move, they make one of 3 different types of boundaries. The first is convergent boundary, the second is divergent boundary, and the third is a transform boundary. The convergent boundary is 2 plates colliding. At this point, you can have something called a subduction zone. Subduction zones can occur when one or both plates is made up of oceanic crust. The more dense one sinks under the less dense plate, and eventually gets melted and reused. So that more dense plate will eventually be melted, and then it will get sent back to the surface through a volcano or maybe a divergent boundary, and it will create new crust. Go ahead and pause if you need to, or move on when you're ready. Continuing on with our convergent boundary, we have 2 types that you could have. Like I said, you could have an area where there's subduction zone or where there's not a subduction zone. You get subduction zones when you have 2 oceanic crusts collide. So when 2 oceanic crusts collide, you do get a subduction zone. You could also get a subduction zone when only one oceanic plate collides with a continental plate. So when that happens, the oceanic plate will fall underneath the continental plate, and a subduction zone would be there. However, when you have 2 continental plates colliding, what happens is they're about the same densities, so they will not fall under one another. Instead, they'll be pushed up, and that is how our mountain ranges are created. Go ahead and move on when you're ready. Divergent boundaries is the next type, and this is when 2 plates are moving apart. Oftentimes, when those 2 plates are being pulled apart, the new space is often filled with molten lava and material to make new crust. Go ahead and pause if you need to, and move on when you're ready. Transform boundaries are when plates slide past each other. The crust is not created or destroyed, and plates just slide horizontally past each other. Sometimes when that happens, they get stuck. That stress builds, the stress becomes too much, and it gets released, and earthquakes happen. Earthquakes can happen at any of these 3 types of plate boundaries. Go ahead and pause if you need to, and move on when you're ready. So some real examples of areas where these boundaries take place. Convergent boundaries would be the Himalayan mountains. Divergent would be the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, and the transform fault would be the San Andreas Fault, which we read about earlier. And I'm going to go ahead and post this animation for you in your Google Docs separately so that you can have a look at that. If you guys have any questions, please let me know, and I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks. Bye.